Hello, Alissa here, and I'm at Flex and Flow Yoga, and today I would like to share with you a virtual workshop on mindfulness, and I'm going to share that by showing you a glimpse of one of my favorite mindfulness practices, and then we'll finish with a short guided meditation. So let's begin by getting comfortable in a seat. Please join me. And thank you for tuning in. Go on and close your eyes down for a moment. Orient yourself to the room that you're in by bringing your hands to the floor, or maybe the chair if you're seated in a chair, or the couch. Feel the rise and the fall of your breath. Noticing any thoughts that arise. And in this way, already practicing mindfulness, right? Bringing our awareness to the forefront. And taking just another couple rounds of breath to welcome yourself here. Let's share a slow inhale together, and exhale. Thanks for joining. Okay, start to open your eyes, and I'm just going to talk for a little bit. In order to answer the question, what is mindfulness? I want to just briefly describe the brain, what is the brain, and the mind, because we need those things in order to access mindfulness. And I highly encourage, if you're curious, that you can go research this. There's so much information out there, and let's begin. Okay, so the brain, it's a big computer, and I'm sure you've heard this analogy many times. It's made up of billions of neurons, hundreds of billions of neurons, that receive input and information via all of our senses. And the brain is constantly sending messages and forming memories. And it's, you know, the brain does not stop unless we're sleeping, and even then, I'm not sure it fully stops. And the mind can be considered to be housed in our brains. And it's the way a person, so you or I, thinks, perceives, reasons, and feels. And it's also where our memory rests, like I just mentioned. It's where we get our language and judgment as well. So, knowing that, what is mindfulness then? When we are mindful, we have the opportunity to witness and evaluate ourselves in any given moment that we might be having a strong reaction. And this can happen through familiarization, objectively observing, and the use of equanimity. And if you're unsure of that word, essentially it is the lessening or eliminating our strong reactions to things that we perceive as bad or negative or really excitable, even the opposite end of that spectrum where we would perceive pleasure. So anything that really gets our heart rate kind of moving and might access our fight or flight response. So when we are mindful, we're able to witness all of that as it begins to take place within our mind, within our body, and then we can consciously choose how to act based off that stimulant. So what draws me to mindfulness is that we can change our brain and we can influence our nervous system in a way that invites more beneficial energetic exchange that's going to leave us more clear, more open, humbled, and very joyful in the moment. A lot of our life is working towards something, and often that can lead to future projection, where a lot of worry, anxiety, dread might come up. And then we also like to do this thing, I know I'm very guilty of it, of digging up the past and clinging to emotional attachments, sadness, anger, regret, even fear. So mindfulness can be a useful tool to help us prevent from living too far in the future or caught up in our past, and it helps take us out of the struggle of the mind. So, to summarize that, for me, mindfulness means being fully present with my life and how I perceive it to be. Many of us can start to experience mindfulness by finding a practice that encourages or requires our full attention. So, as a yoga teacher, before I became a teacher, yoga asana classes were what led me to understand mindfulness more fully, and what really empowered me and showed me how crucial mindfulness is for my well-being. And so you might have found mindfulness through yoga, like me, or maybe even through sports. I think sports are an excellent way to be mindful, right? You probably aren't thinking about yesterday when someone is kicking a ball towards your face. Or my sister crochets, so sitting and just like witnessing the action of creating something can help you be mindful. And I feel very fortunate to share yoga asana and the yoga practices with many of you here at Flex and Flow. And I'm also going to share today a practice of mine that brings mindfulness off of the mat. And that practice is sitting with tea. So, for many years, I rushed through life, especially in the morning when I was living in Boston and working as a scientist. I would just kind of rush out the door to the bus. Sometimes I would make tea really lazily. I don't even know if I remember the taste of it when I would just gulp it down on my way to work. And, my morning routine was not really routine, and it was just kind of losing its appeal after a while of living that way. And so, funnily, I came to tea. I was at a party at a warehouse that a friend owned in Boston. And this party had multiple floors. It was a lot of people. There was a couple stages with music going. There was live art. It was very chaotic and very busy, though very beautiful and fun. And one of my friends said, "Hey, I need a little break from the crowd. There's a tea lounge upstairs. Do you want to go?" And I thought, sure, that sounds nice. And what stuck out to me the most was when we got up to this little tea lounge that kind of hovered above the party, there was a totally different energetic vibe going on. It was calm, and the person that was serving the tea was so quiet and still and peaceful as this raging party is going on below them. And I was just like, wow, I would love to know what that feels like. I would love to embody that. And this person was truly showing me mindfulness and the power that it can have in a chaotic moment or in the present, day to day. It's stressful at times. There's a lot happening. So, after that party, I decided to continue learning more about tea, and it's become a daily part of my life. And now, I'm not rushing in the mornings, and this has become a very peaceful, mindful ritual. And I am very excited to share it with you. Okay, now I'm going to invite you to pause this video and go make yourself a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or just pour yourself a glass of water if you need, or use the restroom, and just do that as mindfully as possible. And then come back and join me here, and I will share with you how I sit with tea. Hi, welcome back. So I have my tea set up here, and I'm ready to share with you the simple act of sitting with tea. Firstly, I'd like to share a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh about presence. We need only to be awake, alive in the present moment. So, it's as simple as that. When I sit with tea, I do this about every morning when I wake up, and sometimes later in the afternoon or in the evening. I have here some of my things, which would include the vessel or the pot, made out of clay or ceramic. And in here, I have some tea leaves, and I'll share that tea in just a moment. And then I have my secondary vessel, which I'll pour the tea from the pot into. And then I have my cup. So, you can have all of these things at home, and sometimes you can forego the extra secondary container. I just really enjoy the process of serving tea in that way. And then here's the tea. So very often when I receive a new tea, I'll look at the leaves, give it a smell, show you. This is a blend of green tea and some herbals that I received from a company called Modest Tea, which I'll show you right here. I have the package. And so this is gifted to me. It has green tea, elderberries, cinnamon, ginger, fennel, licorice, sage, juniper berries. It sounds very warming and very delicious, and also very awakening. So I'm excited to try it. So the first thing I will do, which because of sound I'm going to skip doing live for us here, is boil the water. So I'll sit, I'll boil the water, and I'll generally wait. Maybe I'll smell my tea and kind of get all of my things ready. Then from the water, I put it into a secondary container once it's boiled, and then we're ready to begin. That's a very simple way to show you how I have my tea in the morning. And this kind of tea you can sit with for a while, and you can pour over the leaves. And maybe you noticed I did a very short steeping, just about 15 to 20 seconds of the tea. And then I'll continue to pour into my secondary container and then my cup, just a little bit at a time. And as I have my tea, you'll see I invite in all of my senses. I smell, I feel the warmth of the cup in my hands, the taste of the tea. I like to let it linger in my mouth. Maybe even looking at the pattern, like a little swirl or galaxy of the color of the tea and the leaves, bits of pieces that get in there. And so this is just one way that I like to be mindful off of my mat. And thank you for sharing it with me. Now, I'm going to invite you to get comfortable, and we'll continue on with a guided meditation. Please join me in a seat for this last bit of class where I'd like to lead us through a guided meditation. Meditation is another form of mindfulness, another mindfulness practice, in order to come into our senses and to be unmoved by the change that's constantly around us. So, you can sit in a chair, you can lie down on your back, you can lay on a couch, or come into a full upright position, and I'll adjust myself as well. And I'm going to invite you in the next couple of moments to just close down the eyes. You might close the eyes 9/10 of the way, all the way, or you might fix your gaze down on the floor. Whatever feels most comfortable, most easeful, most safe. Take a few breaths. Let each exhale just relax any tension in the body. Relax the space behind the heart. Relax your solar plexus below your ribs and above your navel. Relax the pelvic floor. And then release or relax the throat and the space between the eyes. Notice how you feel. How is your breathing? Continue to anchor into the present moment and become a witness of your conscious mind. Human beings are seekers. We seek to connect with others. We seek to connect to purpose through work. We seek for release from our suffering. We seek for joy. And today's meditation will include a visualization of what you seek. And so start to imagine all of the things that you seek for, or search for, or desire. And as you imagine each of those things, can you see a red thread begin to grow from your center out towards that thing, and it will just loosely attach around that object of desire, that thing that you seek. And then as a new thing arises, see another red thread expanding from your center until it lassos around that object. And I want you to take a few moments envisioning that, seeing all of those red threads expand from your center and loosely tie around the objects. And as you continue to do this, no judgment, no labeling either thing or any of the things as good or bad. Remaining equanimous, unmoved, envisioning how many threads start to send out. Noticing how you feel when a thread attaches to a thing. And just keep holding that vision without strain, without stress, just envisioning the red threads. Noticing your breath and how you feel. And as you gain an idea of how many threads you have out there, now envision that each red thread begins to dissolve as you release more and more any of your attachments to the objects of desire or the things that you seek. So one by one, dissolving the object, seeing the thread dissolve all the way back to your center, freeing you from the threads. Notice your breath. How do you feel? Invite in the enhancement of connection. Where might that sit in your body as all of these threads dissolve? Releasing you from their grip. Connecting more with your own sense of self. Adjusting your seat if you need to. Just keep noticing your body. your sensations, your thoughts, and your breath objectively. No labels, just mindful. Begin to awaken. Open up to a calm, peaceful, and joyful approach to your life. Free from the threads that bind you. Mindful and aware. Let the eyes blink open. Move your body a little bit if you need to. And I would just like to thank you for trying out this creative virtual way of sharing today. And again, my name is Alissa, here with you at Flex and Flow. Thank you for sharing tea, sharing your attention and your time, and I hope you are all truly feeling well. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Goodbye.